First, the floor, instant reactions. Ben Vallis along with Jake Eisenberg. Jake, Kyle Anderson, threes. I mean, there's so many places we can start here, but dude, that was brutal.
Yeah, this one. I felt this one, and up until about the fourth quarter when they had, I think, a 7-point lead. Sadly, very reminiscent of Game 4 of the NBA Finals. When they had a 5-point lead with like less than 5 minutes to go. Yeah, it was 98 or 95, 88 at one point. And the Steph Curry challenge that did not get overturned, the Draymond Green air ball that led to an offensive rebound, Jason Tatum block under the basket on Steph Curry that led to an offensive rebound. Those are the three that stand out to me. Kyle Anderson threes in the first quarter or first half. He didn't hit more than 1 3 in a single game all last year or this year. Kuminga's late shot clock, circus 3. Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's so many things you can attribute it to. Poor rebounding late in the fourth quarter, just like not being able to secure the ball after a stop. Getting faked out on those Curry, ghosting his own screens where he looks like he's going to curl out to the perimeter and he cuts back in for an open look under the basket. Jason Tatum, that last look he had for 2, which was super contested and sort of fading to the left, just not a good look. And then he lost Buddy Hield on the subsequent possession down the other end of the court. The Warriors just out-executed us in this one. Maybe I'm already starting to drink the copium here, Jake, but it's a healthy loss at this juncture of the season. You're now 7-2, which is still great. I haven't checked the Cavs score recently, but I know that they were in a bit of a heater against the Pelicans, which definitely matters now. But they out-executed us in the fourth quarter, and there's so many instances, starting from when we were up 7 with 6 minutes to go, and multiple bed shittings were stacked against us. And it was partially our own doing and partially just the Warriors having championship pedigree that dates back a lot further. And it was really good execution from Steph Curry and Draymond Green in particular. But it's tough because we had it. We were right there.
The Knicks losing to the Hawks is helpful. I appreciate you in the chat, APB.
Yes, man,
it was right there for us. This is a really good game, and I think plenty of copium to be snorted, huffed, injected, whatever way you like to consume your copium, whether it's no Jaylen Brown, no Kristaps Porzingis, the bullshit ref stuff late in this game as well. But I don't want to talk about the ref. They didn't. Yes, obviously that call went against them, but they end up losing this game by more than 3 points. Obviously, you wanted those 3 points with how close that game was. But this is a really good game. This is the type of defense that can still give Tatum trouble, and it really gave Tatum and the Celtics trouble in the first half, and they completely solved it in the second half. Well, completely is probably strong, but they solved it absolutely in the third quarter. A lot of it was offensive rebounding as well, but way smoother. He ended the game with 4 turnovers after having 4 turnovers in the first half. Yeah. So that's really encouraging. That's really impressive. A Draymond Green led defense with this infrastructure to be the number one guy without as much as incredible as Derek White was ended up being today. He just doesn't have the athleticism to really puncture the defense and collapse the defense in a way that Jaylen Brown can. But this is why you need Jaylen Brown. This is why you need Jaylen Brown to be healthy. This is why Jaylen Brown needs to be on the bench until he's 100% ready to go, because you might come across a team. I'm not sure that the team exists in the Eastern Conference, but you might come across a team like the Warriors in the finals, like the OKC Thunder in the finals, where they've got a legitimate defense that you need athleticism. They have the perimeter defenders to kind of slow you down. You need that athleticism and that pop to Tatum was creating advantages, hitting guys on the wing like Pritchard, getting his shot blocked, Al kind of traveling, just guys that aren't top 20 players, explosive athletes that can really get into the teeth of the defense.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the on-the-fly problem solving, but especially going from the first half into the second half. And we talked about it in the playback stream during halftime. There was a lack of decisiveness. Tatum was generating those advantages in terms of drawing two defenders, but then his passing out of those traps or out of those doubles wasn't crisp. And I also thought our role players and Drew and Derek even weren't doing a particularly good job of positioning themselves around Tatum to be able to take advantage of him drawing multiple defenders. In the second half, really tidied that up. And you mentioned no additional turnovers after those 4 first half turnovers, which was really good to see. So amazing on the fly problem solving. But if you had Jaylen Brown barreling down the lane in this one, if you had Kristaps Porzingis taking advantage of switches and feeding him on the block, these are the things that make the Celtics an unfair cheat code team. And despite that, we put up a really good fight, and man, we fucking had them, and we just got out executed in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, one of infinite teams to get out executed by the Golden State Warriors in crunch time. So, it happens. And it was a fun game despite that. One of the things that made it so fun, Neemias Queta, man, maybe a top 3 storyline coming out of this early portion of the Celtics season, who I got to double check the stats, but you were saying he was leading the game in plus minus at one point.
Ends the game plus 13, which are by far a team high.
I got to look at I know these stats take a while to come in, but Curry's stats while guarded by Queta, how many times did he get drawn out to the perimeter to guard Queta? And he was 2016 final possession of Game 7, Kevin Love, just moving his feet, staying in front of Curry, contesting the shots, making life difficult for him, switching back. He was doing everything. And then offensively, it's probably too early to say this, but his game is evolving. He can't hit those sort of short mid bunny hook shots yet, but a very aggressive, violent dunk late in this one, and he was putting pressure on the rim on both sides of the court all game. He was a real sort of positive takeaway from this one.
Yeah, I mean, Queta, dude, this was so impressive. Coming to the game, the idea of Queta having to deal with Steph Curry, obviously Steph Curry, and also Buddy Hield in this game, did not like the idea of that, but he fucking nailed it, man. He was noticing when Celtics defenders were a step behind the play and that Steph or Buddy Hield had a step and was going to get a clean look, and he would smoothly take the switch and get a contest. Curry, collapsed the defense and got him downhill, but because he was so big, I have to go back. I'm excited to go back and watch it and see all the possessions. But it felt Curry would maybe beat him on the switch, and he was at least forcing difficult shots at the rim or difficult passes out to the perimeter. And that's all you can ask for. Especially with the Warriors offense, you had guys like Draymond out there and Kuminga out there, Looney. So outside of Buddy Hield, really, there's not anyone on the team that you're terrified if they get an open look. You don't want some other guy, some of these guys to get wide open looks, but to force Curry to kick those passes out late as well. I thought he was incredible, dude. Yeah, look, he ends the game 6 for 11 from the field, and when all of your shots are coming from the restricted area, that's not good. But hey, that's still 6 from 11 from the field in a game where the offense was hard to come by and the Warriors defense was giving you trouble. So you'll take that. The 2 free throws, 2 from 4, you want him to go 3 for 4. That's you want him to try and get to his career 70% there. But 5 offensive rebounds, 2 blocks, only 2 fouls as well. This was excellent. I saw Z Gamer in the chat here as well being stacking games now. And Luke Cornett leaves the game with a hamstring injury. We're going to see a lot more Queta. And I think that was going to be the case regardless going forward here. And shout out RJ for the super chat here. Not to blame Luke for his -7 for his 14 minutes. It was not a Luke matchup. He does not have the athleticism. Maybe the hamstring was giving him trouble in this one. And that was where he was struggling, or why he was struggling. But Queta, it's a fucking big story and a big deal for the future of the Celtics, this current version of the Celtics. Really, really impressive.
Well, he's on the most minimal of minimum contracts available to pay someone within the league, and he's exhibiting legitimate talents. We'll see how it goes throughout the season, but early signs are, at least in the first couple of rounds of the playoffs, obviously matchup dependent, but yeah, you were saying, Jake, like there's no more, in theory, incompatible matchup than Neemias Queta guarding Steph Curry, albeit a slightly aged Steph Curry, and he completely held up, like better than basically any other Celtic defender on Curry tonight, which you love to see. Hopefully that remains to be the case. And yeah, thanks again to RJ for the super chat. Yeah, I don't know. There's a few other notes like from earlier in this game, but they're kind of nullified by how it ended. I think the biggest takeaway is the on the fly adjustments the Celtics made, and like the Warriors are so handsy in the paint, and like in that first half, they got so many swipe steals. Like Curry, I think had 3 steals under the basket that are so aggressive, and they're little, I guess you could call them like microaggressions defensively, just like force you to have an extra half a second to think something through in your mind, and that delay, that hesitation permeates through the offense as well, and defense. We saw, like I said, a bunch of blown switches and hesitations defensively as well. They just get in your head and they force you to make mistakes. And I thought the Celtics did a really good job of fighting back in this game and being to a point where you're up 7 late in this game. And then that unfortunate challenge, and I don't want to hinge like too much on this because it's not the reason, it's not the catalyst for the loss, but
it flipped there though.
Looney was the screener. I swear his feet were way past shoulder width on that screen.
Oh yeah, he tripped Derek White. It was a bad call. Mark Davis is a fucking coward.
Yeah, but we should have still been able to win that game anyway from that juncture onwards. But definitely a momentum shifter, so definitely worthy of a mention. We've got to get off here soon because I know the Garden Report are about to go live. We're going to be back with Celtics Late Night in a couple hours' time after the Garden Report show wraps. Jake and I just kicking back. I know every time we do these late night shows after a loss, we always go offline and we're like, dude, I feel so much better after this. So if you're a little caught up on this loss, which you probably shouldn't be because we're still defending champs and 7-2, come hang out for Celtics Late Night because it's where we just kind of like exercise the demons and just like shake off the funk after a loss.
Celtics therapy is important. And if you remember that, we have the NBA title. We'll get more into it, but I thought it was encouraging the way that they responded in the second half. And that's important. And there's a lot of, like if you envision this as a series, I thought like if this was game 1 of the finals, I think you would come out of this like pretty encouraged. And I think that could be a good way to frame late night talking about, because I think that the Warriors are for real. And
seems
I think there's a very real chance that they end up in the finals.
Yeah, kind of a weirdly invigorating loss with an unusual amount of positives to take away, but still frustrating in the end. All right, we're going to leave it there. Make sure you hit that like button. Help us out with the algorithm overlords. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you guys.
Yeah, we'll get you guys later.
All right. See you guys. Let me find the outro button here. Well, what a flubbed outro, Jake. Have you got any parting thoughts? We can't leave on that note. What do you got for us, Jake?
That's awesome. I know. I love it. I love just continue to flounder. I'll just sit over here. I could help you, I guess, by hitting the outro.
Let's do it.